Okay, so here is an image of the suprapleural membrane. The suprapleural membrane. So we'll start from the medial side. Medially from the first rib, this is the first rib. On the medial side of the first rib, we have the suprapleural membrane begins by along the inner border of the first rib, we have the attachment of the suprapleural membrane. It is an incomplete diaphragm as it is only found on the left and right with an opening in the middle for the viscera moving from the neck to the thorax to pass through. So as you can see, this functions as a diaphragm of the superior thoracic aperture. So it's an incomplete diaphragm because it's not covered in the center, and there is a passageway there. So what does this basically do? It is a firm layer of connective tissue just above the apices of the lungs. It separates the thorax from the neck, and morphologically it is derived from the flattened tendon of the scalenus minimus muscle and the endothoracic fascia. It is also called the Simpson's fascia. The significance of it is that it protects the lungs, it protects the apex of the lungs from any type of direct trauma by acting like a shield. It prevents the root of the neck from puffing up and out of the superior thoracic aperture during breathing, and gives rigidity to the thoracic inlet. So the shape of suprapleural membrane is triangular. It lies in the oblique plane of the superior aperture of the thorax. So let's change this picture to give you a better view. So the shape of the suprapleural membrane is actually triangular in shape, and it lies in the oblique plane of the superior aperture of the thorax. So this is also the plane of the superior thoracic aperture, and this blue line over here, this represents the suprapleural membrane. The apex of the triangle is attached to the tip of the transverse process of C7. The base of the triangle is attached to the inner border of the first rib and its costal cartilage. The scalenus minimus may be attached to the posterior portion of the membrane. So looking at this image again, we can see this is triangular shape that we're talking about. The base of the triangle is at the costal cartilage and the border of the first rib, and the apex is attached to the C7 vertebra. So now let's discuss the attachments and relations of the suprapleural membrane. Laterally, we have the first rib. Medially, it merges with the mediastinal pleura, projecting inferiorly attached to the fascia that covers the structures going from the thorax inside the neck. So on the medial side here. So medially, it merges with the mediastinal pleura. Posteriorly, it is attached to the transverse process of the C7 vertebra. Inferiorly, the dome of the cervical pleura of the lung is fused to it. And superiorly, the structures at the base of the neck, example, the subclavian vessels. The final thing that we will be talking about in this lecture is the apex of the lung. And the apex of the lung is a small portion of the lung that extends up into the superior thoracic aperture, but it is stopped from expanding by the suprapleural membrane. So only a little bit of it. That's it for all of the structures in this lecture that we have discussed that pass through the superior thoracic aperture. Stay tuned for more lectures on sqadia.com.